long time. They play Massillon at Arlen Field Friday night. TIG, not the TYGs. And so they're going to come to my house for a little pre with some buddies. It's a big game for Green, even though Green is orange.
Yeah, I know.
It has to do with Massillon. Massillon gave them uniforms many, many years ago. So the high school of Green, their colors are orange.
That's how the Tigers became the TY Tigers, is Massillon Tigers. They had a bet or something, and whoever lost had to change their name. The spelling.
I remember.
Of course it was us.
I remember when I was a kid, they had beat Massillon Tigers. And it was like for 20 years, we beat Massillon. It was for 20 years. We lost to them. So. Good morning. It is 9:30. This is the Richmond County Board of Commissioners. I am a Commissioner, Darrell Banks, with Tony Bureau and Clerk here is my fellow commissioners, Stacy Craw, our clerk, and Missy Houghton, our dog warden. And in the back row, we have Andrew Keller, our new administrator, Chuck Minich, and Josh Hicks from our maintenance department. From the news media, we have Al Lawrence, the News Journal, and Carl Hunnell from Richland Source. And here with us is Greg Kale with WMFD. So the first thing on our agenda is to talk about the dog warden's budget.
Yes.
Talk to us about your budget, Missy.
One thing that I did want to point out that I want to do that's different from last year, we had reduced our adoption fees down to $169 because we got that donation from Patricia Wilson, and it went towards the additional play yard and to reduce the adoption fee. We have used the amount that was allotted for the adoption fees. So I would like to, at the beginning of the year, put our adoption fees back up to $199, which is what they were before we received that donation.
It's not an increase. It's just where it was.
Yes. So, but other than that, I think the only other big change that we had was the salaries due to the wage study, but I don't think that there's anything else incredibly different than what we had before.
Can I ask one question, Missy?
Sure.
On the regular license late penalty,
Mhm.
it's pretty consistent, 11,000, 12, 13,000. 2021 estimate is $3,300, yet we're estimating 16,500.
So in 2021, they extended the deadline to get your license to July. So that's why that is remarkably
Okay.
lower. So we're hoping that next year they don't push that extension back. So
Just to note that your 2020 carryover was actually 24,293.91, not 09391.
okay.
A couple $100, and it shouldn't change the carryover the following year. But I just noticed that looking at your unencumbered balance.
Okay.
Fines, got fines Mansfield. And is that similar to what this question was? Because it's up.
Yes, same thing, because the courts were so pushed back and closed and everything like that, that a lot of our stuff hasn't processed through yet. And then there was that span of time too, where it was just 6 months. So now we have 3 people that are out on the road and that can respond to more calls.
It's a razor thin budget.
It is. The other expense that is new is the contract services for the online tag sales. That's a $200 a month fee. So that is the other expense that is new.
A follow-up from the last meeting, Missy and I worked on this and tried to make sure, because we thought that because of the wage scale and that she'd need money from the general fund. But the way we worked on it and tightened up some of the expenses, it does not look like she will need money in 2022.
Can we get that in the minutes? So when she comes up and says, I need money
Well,
from the general.
as
I
of
don't
right
have
now,
that in the minutes.
as of right now,
Raise your right hand.
My hands are broken. I'm sorry. They have to stay down here now.
They get the badge, Charles, and they just ask for that money. It's in
I asked nicely. I mean,
the better.
right?
I asked nice too.
Yeah. No, that's why we said it's razor thin, but you are in the black. And it's going to continue to be a razor thin department until we pay off that
That building.
debt payment.
Yes, that would be incredibly helpful when that gets paid off. But other than that, I didn't see anything that seemed significantly different from previous years.
We know we had to get the kennel attendants making more than $10 an hour. So we didn't really, I mean, that was one position with the wage scales. We knew that everyone is paying more than $10 an hour now. Everyone. So
And they are the backbone of
Yep.
what we do. So we're very fortunate with the crew that we have. They love what they do. And, we definitely want to make sure that they know that they're appreciated.
No more.
And I was gonna ask. Yeah,
Chuck, you want to come up on this one?
see, I smile and ask nicely. Did that?
You got to take the Jimmy Sweat
Well,
seasonal.
I mean,
Money classes.
there may have been some sessions where he taught me things. So we have trees that are at
Not
the
just
shelter.
a couple, we're have like 15, 3 of them in the yard.
I saw the pictures of the dead tree literally
Pictures though, weren't
falling over onto the property.
yes.
So,
And
I
then
mean, none of
along our
these are
walking
like
path.
half alive. They're all completely dead, and they're definitely ones topping out that's making it very dangerous for it to be in the yard or anywhere next to the building. So, we need to get them down. Most of them are in the woods are going to hang into each other. There's a bunch of grapevines and stuff. So we want to professionally take them down so nobody gets hurt. So
You've seen the pictures. This isn't
I was out there when
in the courthouse, in the forest. They are dead trees.
now these are no leaves. These are completely dead. There's no hope for it to come back next year to bloom out. So
How much it's going to cost?
yeah,
Yeah.
I had Leonard Dulce from Dulce Tree come out and take a look at them.
We had an estimate for $2,450,
Yeah.
and that was for 12 dead trees, and then cut down to in the lawn area in the front, chip brush and grind out 3 stumps.
Yeah.
$2,450.
That's actually pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Do you have
Not to-
any left in your budget for
That's
this?
not to cut up the tree. That's just to get them down. So we're going
No.
to cut them up ourselves.
Just let
No,
she said it much more sternly than I did.
So how do you propose we pay for this, Ms. Crawl?
well, we can pay for it from the general fund, or you can transfer money from the general fund into her budget so that the
Right. I mean, I would imagine the request is coming from the general fund, but which line item would you like to?
contingency.
Motion.
Thank you. Got a second?
Second.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Thank you.
That's still a good price.
Absolutely.
It's a razor thin budget in the black, but she always just asks for the general fund outside the razor thin budget.
Because it's a razor thin budget. I mean,
Exactly right.
I keep it razor thin so that way when I come here, I'm like, but look at the numbers, razor thin, guys, very small. So yes, that's all that I had to ask for currently
Hey,
today.
Today,
I mean,
Thursday,
the month is still just halfway through. We've got a few
the
more.
week is just starting.
I wanted to start it off with a bang. So
Certainly did.
Well, listen, we got you guys up to the minimum on your wage scale.
yes,
You came back, meaning the dog warden department. Actually, if you took the dog warden department out of the wage scales, we were pretty much competitive. You guys were the 30-something thousand of the 50 we were short. We had kennel attendants making 10. I'll say her name on the record. Chelsea is phenomenal. And if there was, they're all phenomenal.
yes.
Thank you to what you guys do. And we're happy that we can get you up a little bit. Granted, it's still at the minimum, but it's justly deserved. And now when members of the public ask what employees are compensated, we can hand them our wage scales and show where all our people are.
Mhm.
which is a good reason why we have them. Obviously, most important being competitively paying people, but
Yeah, we want
Thank
to
you.
retain our people.
correct.
Okay, that's all I have. Any other questions?
Ask your question. I didn't quite have you mic'd up. You mentioned, I think the adoption fee is raising up.
It's going back to what it originally was. We received a donation towards the end of 2020. And it paid for a play yard and to go to promote adoption. So we've gone through the amount that was allotted for the adoption fees, which dropped from $30. So they're just going back up to the original adoption fee of $199. And then that includes the spay or neuter, their current year dog license, microchip, and vaccines.
We like to figure ourselves as a one-stop shop, Greg, when it comes to adoptions. Spay and neuter,
It's
taking care of
efficient.
shots, microchipped.
Yeah.
Can I ask who that donation was from? Is that a single donation?
Yes, from Patricia Wilson when she passed away, she donated, left the money to us.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for coming up and confirming that all those trees were dead. And
Yeah, they're dead.
I made Missy take a picture of everyone.
I was out on a nature hike yesterday. Like I interrupted
They're out
deer.
there in the middle of
Hey,
forest.
Pictures.
Thanks,
The one falling dead on the ground was the best, though.
Oh, I had a plan for that one, but we didn't. I was gonna make it very dramatic, but I decided not to, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thursday. Okay, let's do some other while we're waiting. And can we do these at the same time or not? Okay, can we get a motion to certify the record of proceeding for both November the 4th and November the 9th?
So moved.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Mears.
Yes.
We get a motion to approve the requisitions.
So moved.
Commissioner Banks.
Yeah.
Vero.
Yes.
Mears.
Okay. We want to approve the Village of Plymouth agreement for the CDBG funds. And they are, what are they doing with that?
That's the West Broadway improvements for that competitive grant that they were awarded.
Is there a motion to approve that agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Can I vote no on the next one?
Do you approve the resolution for the engineer to enter into agreement with ODOT for guardrail?
Oh, wait, now that one I'm okay with. It's the one coming up.
I know.
So moved.
Second.
Next one.
Guardrail.
I'm all right with the
Commissioner
Carter.
Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Okay, next. Can we get a motion?
I'm not making it.
Now I see what it is.
$1.4 million for a roundabout, Mr. Administrator.
3.
I rounded way up. Once it's over the 3, it counts as 4 to go.
To award
That
Cook and Illinois.
roundabout rounding.
Yeah, I rounded about up to $1.4 million for a roundabout.
It is $1,308,181.41 to do a roundabout at Cook, Illinois Avenue.
In another 10 years, we'll have to have roundabouts to go into driveways.
Well, not hearing a motion, the chairman will make that motion.
It's out there as Cook turns into Illinois, comes around the curve.
I'm Madison, South
It's just by Madison South, one.
Mansfield Lucas.
Yeah, right by the 39 Mansfield Lucas Road. You want to go out there and drive it? Because it'll be the last time you'll be able to enjoy it.
You might want to find a different route now.
Yeah.
Once
Look at Daryl's face. He's so
once
excited over a
it's
roundabout.
built, it will
Look at
be so much safer.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a high accident? Or
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Second,
Did you make it? Who made it?
I made the motion.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
There go my election chances. Yes.
$1.4 million.
when we like to talk about this roundabout? I mean,
Call Adam.
You should call Adam, really, though. Great.
Adam.
Yeah. Or Bob Bianchi, who will just be so excited that now the county has a roundabout to join his on Middle Belleville and Straub.
Okay, one more thing here on other is the authorization of 2022 meeting expenses for children's services. This allow them to have coffee, candy, and cookies and so forth at their meetings at expense of the taxpayers.
Mr. Administrator, does this have to be done every year? Could you just pass a resolution for all these departments? I think the taxpayers
Gonna ask
are
that.
okay with buying coffee every now and then for visitors, but does every department need to do this annually by the ORC?
Look at them, shake their head, yes.
Jeez.
It's an auditor. It's a state auditor.
So moved.
Second.
If only we knew someone at the State House that could change that.
I didn't hear.
I second it.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Commissioner Banks.
Yeah.
Commissioner Barrel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Okay, does the news media have any?
Wait, I have other.
Oh, you got other?
Yeah.
No, we got other.
So we have $16,535.87 left in our coronavirus relief funding. This is an ARPA, this is our CRF. And per CRF guidelines, we have till the end of the year to obtain the goods or services barring any reasonable supply chain issues. So obviously, we don't want any cent that we receive to go. My thoughts are with only 16 grand of the 8 million that we received, that we reach out to our departments and ask if they need any PPE sanitizers, because we know COVID is here to stay too. That way, if you stock up a little bit, we don't have to use our ARPA money for some of those items. Those are my thoughts. But anyways, we at least need to make a decision on how we want to spend it here sooner rather than later, knowing that there are delays in deliveries and whatnot.
I think that's a good way of spending it. Administrator or EMA kind of control how much so that we don't go out and spend $50,000.
I mean, I guess we'd see what we'd let them know, hey, here's 16 grand. And they come back if there's anything they need, and then we decide what we're gonna order. Doesn't,
Okay, that's fine. That's,
We're gonna select certain departments or make it a blanket.
I think we make it a blanket and then they apply for it here and we determine.
and let's say we get 10 grand in, then we order another 6 grand and let the other elected offices know that we have them, similar to what we've been doing downstairs, right, Stacy?
You want me to email the Board of Commissioners departments with that information?
Yeah.
Ask if they think, don't order, but tell us what you'd like.
And give them to the end of this week, because next Tuesday we need to make a decision.
Okay.
We're going into Thanksgiving. That gives us a month to get it. So they have until Friday to get in their requests.
All right.
Makes sense. Yeah,
Cool.
that quickly.
Al, did you have questions?
Yeah, I had a question on that roundabout. Is that does that money cover the full cost of the roundabout?
No, Al, it's mostly covered by a grant. I think the county share is a couple $100,000, but verify the exact amount with Adam Gove. Most of it's covered by grant.
That is the contract amount, though, that
Right.
free.
The county share isn't anywhere near that.
Now, that's the contract amount for construction or design?
Construction.
They've already had the public meetings and everything else.
Okay, because I remember doing the story and I just didn't remember the financial aspects of it. So,
Yeah, get with Adam, Al. He'll have all the exact details, but I was razzing him a little bit yesterday about the cost of the roundabout, and he made sure to let me know that the vast majority is being paid for by grant and or which we call taxpayer money.
okay, I'm kind of like you, Tony. The only benefit I can see to a roundabout is it slows the traffic down.
It saves lives.
I knew he was gonna say that right
Broad
there.
Road's a good example. I had one injury accident there since they put the roundabout in.
The band, yes, thanks you.
Couple of questions. The roundabout, who's getting the contract to do the work?
That's the contractor. But,
Shelley Sands, right? At Shelley and Sands Inc.
Okay. And just some general budget questions at this point. I just want to know, I guess first, where are you guys in the 2022 budget process? How many departments have you met with? How many more to go?
So I talked to Stacy and Pat this morning, Carl. We have our revenue estimates and expenses. Obviously, we're going to need to talk to Pat. He is our buddy when it comes to estimating conservatively. Looking at projections for 2021, I think our sales tax is going to come in around $24 million, Carl. I think that's sort of my projection. Don't hold me to that. So if we come in less, this isn't like the Price is Right. But Pat, then again, being conservative, is as of now saying we're only going to make 20.9 million in sales tax revenue for next year. That would be a somewhat substantial decrease in this year. So I think we need to have a little more discussions on getting him to come up, at least in our budget purposes, for the budget. Our expenses are around 41 mil. And right now, Pat's projected revenue, hold on a second, I'll bring it up. So the projected revenue as of now with a $20.9 million sales tax is about 36 million even. And our requests are 41,856,577.56. So we're off a bit, but I think we have room to come up a couple million in our sales tax and still feel comfortable while being conservative. Carryovers at 7.8. We have about 1.7 million in the rainy day fund, which we call our budget stabilization fund in our financial system. We have a healthy capital projects fund with the caveat that if we approve all of Chuck's capital projects 5 years out, we don't have enough money to do all the capital projects. So excess, knock on wood, hoping we stay strong. I think any excess we have in 2021 we'll probably put a sizable portion back into the capital projects fund.
The 7.8 carryover, does that include the 3.2 from ARPA?
No,
Or is that still sitting out there?
that's in a separate fund. We can't put that money into the general fund per the regulations. That is within the ARPA fund, but it's a sub fund within that because of the revenue loss was an entity-wide piece, not just general fund. The money can't go into the general fund.
Okay. What is Pat's reasoning, or has he given any reason to think why you're going to make $3 million less in sales tax next year?
Well, I look at him and he winks. So you know how this goes every year.
Yeah, it's like this every year.
Right.
We have to negotiate, talk, persuade, and get him to raise it a little, but we don't want it raised beyond what it's reasonable
Right.
to be.
We'll miss Marilyn's head bob at us when Daryl and I don't want to go up any higher. And she looks at us, we can't even go to that. So
Okay.
maybe Cliff can be Marilyn this year. Yeah.
But he hasn't offered any specific elements that say, I think sales are going to be down in this area because of blank.
Because he knows it's not going to be 20.9 million barring a major economic setback.
All right. Speaking of ARPA, how is the small business grant going for the program going for restaurants, entertainment venues, things like that?
Well, we just happen to have our administrator in here, so he can answer that question.
My first time I get to ask your administrator a question.
Carl.
Talking to Carl.
Yeah.
It's still in process. We really don't have an update on that today, but we're working hard on the federal procurement side and in the process of putting together a Board of Commissioners procurement policy for Richland County. So that comes first. And after those things are put into place, I expect in the next probably 2 weeks, we'll be able to be more serious about our next steps, including the small business relief program through the chamber.
Right. I actually got a question, and I don't know whether you want to answer this, Andrew, or whether the commissioner should. I had a couple of people when I posted the story about the internet access. I had some people wondering if that means the internet's actually going to be hooked to their house. And I know that's what was said during the meeting, but a couple of people still wondered, are they still going to have to pay to have internet run to their house if they've not had access in the past and they get it through this program?
Those are great questions. I've wondered the same thing myself. It's premature to know the precise answer in every broadband route and area, but that'll be forthcoming as we finalize the commissioner's broadband strategy.
Carl, my understanding is they would pay same as any one of us who has internet. It now just provides them the capabilities, should they wish to pay for the broadband service, they can do so. So no, this isn't free internet running to people's homes. They just now would have the capabilities should they elect to have broadband internet.
Okay, I don't think they were asking about the service itself. I guess I had a gentleman tell me that he contacted Spectrum and was told, yeah, it would still cost you $8,000 to have that run to your house.
Yeah, that's correct. And again, Andrew's working in this. There's a couple of things. That's why we hired his brilliant legal mind. But the answer to that is our monies and the taxpayer monies all the way around would pay for that $8,000 to enable Richland County residents to pay for the monthly service, as most of us do.
Okay. Let's see. And talking about capital projects, what are you looking at capital projects for in 2022? Do you have any specifics in mind at this point?
You can review that when Chuck is here.
When Chuck's here for his maintenance budget, you will have the 5-year forecast.
Scheduled for Thursday.
Wait, hold on. Is it
Next week. Next week.
I think.
Let me look.
Can't remember if it's Thursday or.
Yeah, maintenance is Thursday, I show, Stacy, at 10:30.
Yep.
The Board of Elections is at 9:30.
So Thursday, we'll have
Okay.
that.
And what's your timeline for finishing up meetings with departments and starting to take pencil to paper?
First week in December.
You're the chair.
I would, the first week in December, we should be, as you say, putting pencil to paper. Putting minuses to pluses.
Very good. That's what I had, guys. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it is, Greg, do you have anything? 9:58, 9:59, and we have a 10 o'clock and we'll recess until Soil and Water walks through the door. 10:03, and we are joined by Erica Thompson, and we are going to Thomas, and we're going to discuss Richmond County. And we have before us a budget, an explanation, and go ahead and tell us about it.
Thank you. Came to our annual celebration last week, which was really nice. Thank you. And so you already got my spiel of all the accomplishments we've had for 2021. But this little sheet of paper just kind of summarizes the important things. H2 Ohio did expand into Richland County this year, kicked off on July 15th, had deadlines of August 30th to get people signed up. We had about 25% of the eligible acres sign up into the program. That's about 1/8 of the county. That's going to bring in about $500,000 for this first round. For the next 3 years, we expect it to be about $4 million. So that's a big deal. And we hired a new technician for this program, Evan Stern. He started in July. The Department of Agriculture is giving us $60,000 for 5 years, each year $60,000 to fund his position. So that was a big deal for 2021. And then, as you know, the ditch petition was filed for the Black Fork this year. Soil and water, I went back and looked in our beehive system to see what we had coded towards this project, and we had 307 hours coded for this year for doing the research, drone footage, hearings, and all that kind of stuff. Matt Wallace will be doing survey work for the engineer's office starting in January, where he plans to measure and mark the trees that need to be cut. And we're hoping to hire an intern that'll help with this endeavor. Hopefully that would be funded by the Black Fork process is what we're working out with Adam. That's what the joint board hearing is for on Thursday to look at that MOU. Then we had our first ever family fun on the farm festival this year over at Malabar. We partnered with about 15 other agencies. About 500 visitors came to this event. I thought that was pretty exciting. We are planning to do this next year and include some farm tours in the county. And then finally, there's a little graph on here that it's kind of a little bit hard to read, but hopefully you can read it okay. This is the number of stormwater permits we've had over the last 6 years. The green bar is the one that's for this year, and it's not the full year. It's only current through the end of October. But you see we've been steadily on course of the number of permits in the county have been increasing, which I think that matches pretty well. It sounds like you had a meeting with the regional planning people, or maybe it was the Chamber of Commerce a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about the growth in the county. We're seeing that through our permits we've been issuing as well. So coming up in 2022, we are going to continue doing the work for the ditch petition, as I talked about. The state match is going to be 89% for 2022. That's their state fiscal year from July through June. It was 88% in 2021, so that's going to keep pretty steady. The 60,000 for the H2 Ohio administration. We're going to lead a pond clinic on March 1st, which we've been getting a ton of calls about ponds. That's probably been our #1 request from residents in the county. So we're excited to be able to do a pond clinic for them. And then we're going to hold a cover crop workshop to promote H2 Ohio and the MWCD cover crop program. Our budget request, as we get into it, I'm sure you've noticed, we were asking for 3 trucks because we have 4 technicians now in the office and only 2 trucks. And these 2 trucks are getting very old, the 2005 and 2007. It is. On the second page there included some pictures and what's wrong with those 2 trucks. There's a huge list. One of them blew a tire while Matt was driving it a few weeks ago, and he was lucky he was able to get off the side of the road. Okay, but I mean, the tire completely exploded. Then we just had the catalytic converter stole off the white truck yesterday. So it seems like we're constantly dumping money into these trucks, and I'm hesitant to want to put any more money into it if we don't have to. So the budget request includes $50,000 for each for 3 trucks. I did try to find the state term contract because that was around what they were going for in the last contract. That one has expired and they don't have a new contract in place yet. So used vehicles will be totally acceptable by me if we can find any. I know the prices have been pretty high too, but anyway, that's where we are on that. And then finally, a new thing we're going to be starting here soon is Evan Stern has experience in doing podcasts, and he's coordinating some podcasts to co-host with the new director for Kingwood Center. I can't think of his name, Josh, I think. And they will be doing a series of different topics and releasing those next week. So that's the highlights of what's going on in our district. And like I said, in the second page, you can see the pictures of our trucks and all the rust on them. And on the whole list of things that are wrong with them. So our budget request, the only two things that's new that we're asking for is 4% increases for the staff to account for the cost of living and pay raises, and then the 3 trucks. Other than that, it's basically just continuing everything that we've had so far.
Just so we're clear. So if we look at the personal service schedule, we're requesting, look at the 2020 base salaries. Okay. So I'm not looking, I've been looking 2020 to 2022. And my reasoning for that is because 2021 was 27 pays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And I did account for that if you look in the forms.
Right. So if I look at your 2020 base salaries of 221,927.81.
I'm
And
sorry, say that again, the 2021.
The 2020 base salary of 221,927.81.
Okay.
And
And
I
that does not include Evan, and that was a partial year for Jordan.
Right.
Okay.
So if you take out, I want to make sure I'm looking at this correctly. You're looking at roughly 9% wage increases over 2 years,
Well, you accounted for Evan's position being new and then Jordan.
right? Is that right?
That doesn't,
Jordan's not partial in 2020. You have him at 37,440.
okay.
So if you take out Evans 26,720, again, never saying my math is correct, that come to 246,171. Is that right?
I'm gonna have to do the math. I don't know what the percentage increase is. That doesn't sound right to me, though.
I'll take out the 282,890 minus Evans 36,720, right?
Mhm.
Is that 246,171?
Sounds right, yeah.
And if you compare that to the 2020 base salaries of 221,927, my math shows a 9.8% increase. That would be some of the highest, if not the highest in the county.
Doesn't sound right. We had some pay increases last year for 3 staff, which was Matt Wallace, Teresa, and Jordan. And they're the only 3 that got increases this past year. And that was $1,000 each, I believe. And the year before, there was some increases, but they weren't nearly what you're talking about.
All right, so let's look at 2022, and it might even be a little more. All right, let's do 2022. We'll take 286, and again, I'm not saying that's why I'm trying to understand this. And we'll just do 286,194. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But again, that's a full year for Evan.
Right. So I'll take out Evan Stern at 36774. That gives me 249,420. Let's look at 2022. Let's see if we're on the same page. So that's 249,420, right? Are you with me?
Yep, writing it down.
Okay. And you're looking at the 2020 base salaries, not 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to minus 221,928 divided by 24420. That's 11%. That's 11% increase in salaries over 2 years.
So in 2021, Matt, Teresa, and Jordan got $1 an hour raise. Or I'm sorry, Matt, Teresa, and Jordan, $1 an hour raise. The year before that, they gave me a big raise. It was $5,000 a year for that.
Which you do a great job. So please, these are always difficult conversations, but I mean,
But everybody else, when you look down, they only had very minimal increases. So I guess maybe my increase is probably the biggest one that accounted for that.
but even $1 an hour, let's say about $20 is
2,080 hours, that's about
but
$2,000.
it's percentage.
From 20, the hourly rate I see here for 20
Uh-huh.
compared to 21. You're talking about it went up 60 cents for Teresa and 66 cents for
I think.
Matt was 60.
Percent increases, I think. I'd have to go back and look.
But just, I mean, I'm not trying to do the math there to see if you're agreeing with me on that. If you look at the 2020 bases
Mhm,
compared to the 2022 bases minus Evan Stern,
mhm.
I show an 11% increase over 2 years.
I match that.
That's it, right?
So what are the other departments? I don't know.
We saw requests for 3%,
For over 3 years
2 years.
or 2 years?
Well, it's 3% and 3%. Generally, people would put in 3. This 11% would be about as highest as we've seen. So I'm curious as to and I'm not saying they're not justified. They're not justified. I guess the first question would be, do you agree that the math is right? And then we're trying to understand then. Just we want to make sure that we're in line there, and we understand you needed to come up more. So let's understand that a little bit. But I just want to make sure that your math matches my math.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
They also understand that with the MS4
Right,
and the ditch petition,
Yeah,
there is so much more work.
right.
right,
All the permitting that,
right.
yeah, we understand there's more work, but the individual increases is more than what we've done with other people.
Yeah, I would want to look back a little further because when I came on board, they told me they hadn't got pay increases for several years in our office. And
I don't doubt that.
yeah, looking at the other districts, they just came out with a wage comparison of all the districts. We are. on the
You send that to us?
End of it, absolutely. You probably saw it at our last board meeting, didn't you?
I think so.
Yeah. So I mean, to be competitive and keep my employees.
We hear you. I just want to make sure that the math is.
Yeah, I think you're mostly seeing the increase for me though, because I mean, again, just looking at this, I think it was 3% increases for. And then only 3 people got it in 2021.
Can I ask about Evan?
Mhm.
Say that VA provided his funding.
Mhm.
How long will that continue?
5 years, and they've given us the money up front, which is very unusual.
5 years funding up front?
They did. They gave us 4, and then I have to get a form turned into them to get that 5th year, and we're working on that because sign it. But yeah, that hardly ever happens. You never see money up front like that.
Except for ARPA.
So another thing, Erica, I think your math's a little off on your insurance. So a family plan is $2,159.21 a month. Okay. So I show that times 12 is 910.52. Okay. And that's just showing the Evan Stern health insurance. I don't know why you're showing 21,352.56. Unless I just want to make sure that your health insurance is correct.
So I think for him, I estimated spouse too, because he's getting married in January. And
So it'd just be employee plus spouse.
yeah,
You didn't have any kids?
no,
Okay. All right. So that's that. Does his spouse have other coverage?
no.
Okay.
He doesn't even have a job.
Okay.
She's in grad school.
We've all been there.
Yep.
We're just old right now.
Some of us.
All right. The last question I have, and Erica, let me just say you have done an outstanding job with your department. You've taken on more responsibility, taken a hold of the MS4 situation. So we certainly agree that there's some more money warranted coming your way. With that being said, though, you came into 2021 with $131,000. We'll even say 132 because it's 131.9 $132,000 carryover, which is pretty healthy for a department of, not a huge expense.
I'm sorry, what are you looking at? 131?
If I look at your ending unencumbered balance for 2021, I show 131,913.34,
Okay.
right?
Like that's the estimate.
That's your 2021.
Well, I updated my numbers on here, but that does not include the rest of November and December, of course.
So that's going to be your actual. That's not going to be your estimate.
What's in that column, yes.
So what do you anticipate ending the year with?
So I talked to Kevin this morning. We've not very much. That they were probably gonna, what the budget is for the remainder of 2021. I updated my spreadsheet this morning. 94,997 left in our budget that's in the system. Now we brought in more revenue than the budget was set up because we did get the Reach to Ohio money and the match was a little higher than expected. But that's expensive. That rest of the budget, that's probably going to be pretty close to what our expenses are going to be for the rest of the year. But that's assuming we're looking at getting 2 Trimble units to do that survey work for the Black Fork. That's $12,000 for these 2.
Well, that's why we have this handsome guy behind you. I think with our profit loss piece, we might be able to assist with
That would be awesome because
vehicles. And I mean, that's sort of why the profit loss piece is that governments and businesses lost revenue in 2020. We claimed an entity-wide revenue loss of 3.2 million. And I think there's an opportunity to purchase some vehicles, providing he blesses that in the back, with ARPA monies. So I know you have old vehicles. We know that.
Yeah. And we have 4 technicians now and 2 trucks. It's been hard for them to get their work done.
We understand.
We got to get you some vehicles.
We'll get you some vehicles.
And as far as the salary percentage and all that, I think you made a good point that a lot of that was when you recognized your abilities and increased your salary.
Yeah.
And percentage wise on the individuals, 12%.
Yeah, I was going off the total. Yeah. If you could send the comps and then just the last piece. I'm not saying we aren't going to do this because we recognize you have truly transformed the department. So I think you have Cliff's new, but I think he sees the department's value. In 2019, the general fund contribution to soil and water was $140,800. In 2020, you're requesting a contribution of $280,750. That shows about 100% increase over 4 years.
It is, yes. But we also have 2 additional staff people. The new programs are doing and trucks. I mean, that's the biggest part of that. There's a big portion in the truck cost.
Well, that's a big increase.
It is.
Also, the workload that you have nothing was done about MS4 for 20 years.
Right.
And you inherited all that. And then with the Black Fork petition, we don't even know how many hours that's going to take. So
Right.
some of it is very.
That's probably going to be pretty dedicated to that program for a while.
We understand.
Yep.
It's not, look, in a $41 million request budget, it's not the biggest request, right? But I just have to look at just department proportionally. So
Good job. You have to.
I have another question about the trucks.
Yeah.
I know, and you've got $150,000 and you're estimating 3 trucks at 150, or 3 trucks at 50,000 each.
Yeah.
With nothing.
I know, but I'm trying not to budget irresponsibly, but we do need to get trucks. I'm hoping we can get used ones.
I think we'll get you, we can use ARPA money. Well, I guess Mr. Keller will have to tell us if we can use ARPA money.
Yeah.
Then if we can't, that's a different conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does the news media have any questions?
No, I don't.
Thank you.
Carl was waiting to come back in.
It's the salary comps.
Yeah. Cause
No, I don't
get on the Wi-Fi here. I could send
be able to.
Carl, I'm sorry, I didn't see you waiting to come in.
That's okay. I jumped off to talk to Mr. Dropsy about his revenue estimates for next year.
I hope you learned a lot.
Well, I learned that he is concerned about inflation and the impact it may have on sales tax.
Well, I think he makes a good point.
To the tune of 3 million?
That's a question that you and the county auditor should have, Mr. Bureau. I simply ask the questions and report the news.
Eric already went through our budget conversation, but do you want to ask any questions?
I think I'm good for right now, but thank you.
All right, thanks.
Eric is emailing us some more information.
I did have one question. Would you remind me what MS4 is again?
Oh, MS.
Municipal stormwater system. It's an EPA program under the NPDES Clean Water Act that municipal areas have to comply with additional stormwater controls, basically.
We have four counties in the area, or in Richland County, that come under that law also. And they are contributing, it's 4 counties, right? 4 townships. 4 townships are contributing to help us pay for that.
It's an acronym for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System.
All right, is that the one where you have to monitor, you have to identify and monitor the outflows?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay.
Which we have mapped out the whole system. That got finished up this spring, which was a huge endeavor of our office.
Yeah, that's all I had on that.
Thank you. Well, while she's doing that, Rachel, just let me say that I'm disappointed that all the turkeys are gone now.
I know, I am too.
Rachel sent us an email saying we got to add $6,000 in budget at the end of the year. And I said, there went the holiday turkeys.
But let me say, that would be the first time we'd ever get turkeys, so I guess we're not that disappointed.
I just sent that document from, it was in an email from Tom Holmes, so you can see in there.
Okay.
You're probably too.
Well, Erica, we'll take a look at this.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for all you do, Erica.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. We'll
Guys,
be back in contact.
okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Rachel, come up. Come on down.
Okay. It's not quite time to open, but I did receive 2 bids, and Belinda trusted me with a little Sharpie knife on top. So you're welcome to use it. If you cut your finger, it's not my fault, it's Belinda's. Go ahead, keep it there. And Captain Blanc should be, and then we'll go into
10:28, and we will go into, you go right in. Go in.
We'll give it to Muscles. Thanks.
Can we get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Opening bid. Or
for medical services.
RFPs for medical services in the jail. Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
we gotta wait till 10:30.
or till Captain Blunkett.
Captain Blunt gets.
You know how many, we
Yeah.
had actually one kid on our team that was from another school district.
Too many.
It was a Lexington kid. Where I was born and raised.
There you go.
Okay, well, it's 10:42. We are out of executive session, back into regular session. And we have turned the bids over to Rachel Troyer and our Captain Blunk, and they will take them and review them, come back to us with a recommendation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we have been joined by the management of the Sheriff's Department and our HR person. Captain Trainer, Lieutenant Myers, and the sheriff all here with us. We are need a motion to go back into executive session to discuss union negotiations.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, it's 11:09. We are back in session. And we discussed we have a contract to approve for the correction bargaining unit. Is there a motion to approve as we discussed? So moved.
I think we need to put the terms on the record, correct, Kelly?
Yes, this is a 3-year contract, January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024. Covers the corrections, clerical, and technical employees of the County Sheriff's Office.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vera,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes. And on the other issue, which was the bargaining unit negotiations, the sheriff's deputies and so forth, go forth and negotiate.
Will do.
Thank you.
Questions? Don't go anywhere. Carl,
Yeah, how many folks are covered under the contract for the correctional, clerical and technical employees? How many people in that bargaining unit?
Roughly 90.
Okay. Majority of those correctionals?
Yes, sir.
And under the terms of the of the contract for 3 years, what sorts of are there pay increases included as part of that new contract?
Yes.
Okay, what are those percentages, or what are the terms of that?
Sure. For the clerical and technical, so those are the civilians covered by this contract, it's 3% each year, 3-year contract.
Okay.
And for the correction officers and supervisors, there are equity adjustments. The first year, we have reduced the steps from 5 to 3, and it's a 3% increase in the second and third years of the contract.
Okay, that's what I needed. Thank you.
Sure.
Al, you have any questions?
that's not,
Okay, well, thank you very much for.
Thank you as always. Appreciate it. Kickoff meeting. 10 o'clock is what we're gonna set it up at. You want me to send you a reminder?
Yeah, that'd be your
You can
office.
just call in. We're gonna do it by phone.
Okay.
This morning. And guns. I'll probably go.
Well, they didn't say trailer park. They said in the gated community of Candlewood.
Hey,
Sony.
Yeah. Andrew? As always, nice to see you. Have a good day. Yes.
Here we go. 1.5 hours in a day. Yep. You came back, you're still
Pleasure
here.
to be involved in some.
Right?
Get to see what goes on.
No, welcome to my world. All kinds of fun stuff.
Amanda, how are you?
I'm here. Which is a good thing. How about yourself?
One of your engineering.
Well, I still got a couple. I don't know. I mean,
Yes, the generator. Matt at KEM, and he gave me some guidance. Health department. I've got, they provided me some, but I wanted to do the homework on it before I talk to you about it. Too much work to do. And everything that's going on at the plant right now. So.
Are you heading to your office after this? Okay. 2 minutes.
Don't expect my pictures to be on my wall.
Oh, come on now. You're not all moved in and settled.
Although I did bring some screws and screwdrivers.
There you go. It's just finding the time. Yeah.
We got our quorum back. We'll
Yeah. We lost them.
just walked out.
Asked for 5 minutes, but I think it was too much going on in here.
I kind of heard him.
Sign where it says Richmond County or just on the. Okay, cool.
Yes, I did.
It is 11:15 and we are back in session. And we would like to go to executive session. So can I get a executive session or a vote to go into executive session for the purpose of proving, well, the executive session is compensation. So, get a motion to go for compensation.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Mears,
Yes.
Busy today.
Yeah.
Better for the-
Okay, it is 11:24. We are back in session.
Oh, yeah. So I know. Or I can-
Authorize you to go forth and on the compensation and discuss that. And we also have with Amanda Miller, State Route 1339 station, lift station generation contract. So explain to us what you got.
Our lift station at 39 is, we have several unique ones, but 39 is unique in that there was never a generator to run it in operations without power. Right now, we manually have to go a generator to the location to get it set up and switch it over. The problem with that is another lift station, we call it Walker, it's off of Walker Road, or Walker Road, it's actually got its own generator that pumps to it. So if it doesn't have power, but Walker has power, then we have overflows. And the situation is trying to resolve the sanitary overflows that we've had. We've had a couple over the last couple of years that have been significant. Reports have been made to the EPA appropriately and all, but we want to eliminate that problem and would like to get a generator of its own set there. So worked with Jones and Henry in coming up with this contract, and Andrew, when he was at the prosecutor's office, in trying to get this ready so that we can get the design done and then construction next year. Right now, the money is, we have the money in the capital improvement to allocate towards this. Wanted your approval to encumber it for next year, and so that we can go ahead and get this design done.
Taxpayers pay for capital improvements. This is exactly what they would want and want their money spent on. Motion.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Nice job, Amanda Miller.
It is 11:26 and unless somebody, do you have any questions out there in media
Yeah,
land?
Yeah, Jones and Henry is a design firm.
Say that again.
Jones and
Jones and
Henry is a
Henry.
design firm you're hiring.
Yes.
They're out of where?
Toledo.
Any estimate on how much this is going to cost?
Design and construction, it's $27,800.
Design.
Design, yes, for design. Sorry.
Okay. And do you have any estimate yet on how much, the installation and everything is going to cost, or?
They didn't want to give me a good number at this time just because of the costs of products have been changing so frequently. We don't know when we'll be able to get the generator spec for sure to know what the cost of it's going to be.
Okay. And what did you say the problem? I didn't quite understand the problem between Walker Road and 39.
Walker Lift Station has its own generator. And Walker contains a lot of gravity goes straight to Walker Road. So when Walker has power and 39 doesn't, Walker pumps to 39. So the sanitary overflow happens at 39 lift station.
No, okay.
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 All
Got
right.
it. Okay, that's all I had.
Thanks, Al. It is 11:28. And the Board of Commissioners will stand adjourned. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.